Hello friends. I thought it would be fun to do a little project that is kind of short and sweet, but very powerful for some self-care. These are just wonderful little ways, or little pockets with a little watercolor, very simple, small watercolor that you can add a thought or quote or something that just kind of reminds you to take care of yourself, to put your own mask on before you help others. And I'm using a 2 7/8 inch square, and it's just, the reason I'm doing that is it's sized to fit inside this little pocket. So you'll also need a piece of paper that is 12 inches long by 3 inches wide. So we're going to just do the watercolor first, and I'm going to do a very simple flower, and these are little heart-shaped flowers. I'm going to get some bright pink, and this is a pink that I really love. A friend of mine makes these. It's called Art to Basic. So I'm going to take some of this gorgeous fantasy fuchsia. It's brighter than opera. It's a fluorescent color. I just think it's gorgeous. And then a little magenta. Just going to tone it down a little. Not that it really needs toning. And I've got this beautiful pink, and it's called Candy Floss, and it's got some glitter in it. And, you know, a little glitter makes everybody a little happier. So I'm going to load my brush up completely, loading the brush, and I'm using a number 6 round Princeton brush, and it's a nice brush. It doesn't hold a really fine point, but I like this for this kind of shape. I'm going to make kind of a heart shape. So I'm just going to do a little, just press it down like so. And I've got a lot of puddling there, and I don't mind that. But I just made a heart shape just by pressing the brush down, and I'll do that again, show you what I mean. And I'll do another one right here. So I take the brush, kind of lay it on its side a little bit, and then just press down, and then again press down, and look at that beautiful little heart shape. And if I want to make a smaller one, I'll do another one of those bigger ones here. I'll go bigger right there and maybe there. And if you load your brush up nice, you're going to get a nice shape. So I'm going to do another one, but the smaller brush, do the same thing, make some tiny hearts. But just really, all I'm doing is laying the brush on its side and kind of pressing upwards. But really, your brushes make a big difference, what kind of brushes you have. So there's 5 little shapes there, and I think that maybe I'll do another one. Another here, and then maybe one more, maybe right there. And just so happy, these little glittery shapes. And you can kind of fix them up a little. And if you wanted to add some more color, or let's add a little blue. And you can just sort of touch it at the base. Touch it at the base and see if it's not spreading much, but it's going to spread eventually. But you do this while the paint is wet. And now what I'm going to do is make some branches or something that connect these. And I need to find a green. This is actually a nice green. This is actually, I think this is a Daniel Smith Cascade green. And I'm going to mix it with a little bit of it's a kind of a greenish, it's kind of a bluish green, and I don't know the color here, but it's a beautiful color. And I'm going to go ahead and just start with this little heart, and I'm going to make a branch kind of going down, and then this one can just kind of have them going down, and then I might just have this one coming off of that, and maybe just kind of bring it down, and then I can have them crisscross. There we go. Just kind of, I'm not trying to make something realistic, obviously. I'm just making something that looks kind of joyful. It makes me smile when I see it. And I'm going to take a little of this green, and I might put some of this really pretty yellow color. And this is actually called Coastal Moss. Ooh, it's very pretty. And I put that with that green just to kind of give it some yellow. And I'm just going to make some kind of leaf shapes using my brush. And that's about all I think I'll do. Maybe a couple more here. And just kind of fill my paper with little brush strokes that create this illusion of a little bouquet of heart flowers. And that should make anyone happy, right? Now I'm going to take a little blue. This one is called anthraquinine blue, and I'm just going to touch these while they're still wet. I'm going to just kind of touch those. That had already dried. I'm going to leave it there. I could actually take this up since it dried already. I can actually just pull that color up. So I just added a little layer of kind of blue just to change it a little bit. So that's that. I'll leave that alone and let it dry. So I cleared my table off of any watercolor or water because I'm folding paper, and I'm just having, this is still drying, and I have my strip of paper that has the same bright color in it. That's kind of why I picked the fuchsia or the bright color. But what you need is your strip of paper. It can be white on one side and patterned on the other. You will just fold it in half lengthwise. And just make sure those little sides are lined up before you make that crease. And then open it up and you'll see a crease down the middle. And what you're going to do now is fold the two outer long edges, fold them towards the center, and don't make it touch the center. You want it just to be a little bit kind of outside the center, a little bit of that crease. You don't want them overlapping. So I'm just going to fold both sides so that they kind of meet but not overlap. We want to leave a little space. So like there's a little bit of tiny bit of space there. Not much. You just want these sides lined up really well. Okay? And after you've done that, so you've got 4 sections. You've got the center, you've got the two, basically you've got 4 equal squares, and you're going to fold your paper down at this fold this diagonally so that it meets. Basically, you're going to kind of line it up on that crease that's the nearest crease, and then you're going to crease it. Okay? And then the next one is you're going to do a similar fold. You're going to bring this, you're going to make a diagonal fold on this square here, and have it kind of line up, have the bottom line up with, in the top, it's hard to see because the light makes it hard to see. But when you're folding it, you want this line or this crease to lay over that bottom, and then you want your top edge. I mean, once you do that, then the top edge lines up just fine. So then just crease it. Once you see that that's lined up, then you can give it a crease. You just fold this flap backwards and just make sure it's lined up with the bottom. Like I see that mine kind of got a little off. I have this little off thing, but that's okay. It's going to be fine. So I've got a little, there we go, just going to line that up. Make sure it's lined up, kind of like just laying on top like that. Okay. Now you're going to just take this and fold it over. Okay. Now you'll notice there's a little white edge. We'll fix that in a minute, but that little white edge is there. I'm going to fold this over, and I'm going to tuck this flap into the corner here. And what you could do if you wanted to secure this, now the pocket is finished. See how easy that was? I'm just going to kind of lay this down, and I see there's a little bit of a kind of a, I don't know what that's called, wrinkling. What I could do is there's ways to fix that. I could trim this very lightly. A bit like I'm taking like a hair, like a little tiny bit off. And the reason I'm doing that is I don't want that to buckle, this piece of paper to buckle. And you'll notice you might see a little place that needs to be trimmed off because you don't want that white showing. So I'm just trimming off the top just ever so slightly. And now what I have is this adorable little pocket, and these are not dry yet. But the pocket will fit perfectly the card. Let me just grab one. So this card now slides right in, fits it just perfectly. And if you want to, you could put like a little something that kind of goes with it, or it doesn't have to go with it, but if you want to put a little embellishment on it, you can take a little watercolor embellishment and glue that on. You can also take a little bit of glue right at the very top edge, just a touch of glue. If you really want to keep that nice and clean up at the top, and you can take that glue and put it on your little fussy cut focal point. You could write a word on that if you want. There's so many ways. Like you could see, that I did this. I also did a little for you. Here's a little focal point and love note to self. And these next step, after my watercolor is dry, I'm going to get a pen and show you the next step. What I did on the back is I put a little wash of some pink, what was left in my palette, and I let that dry. It should be dry enough now. So I'm going to use a pen. This is a Uniball Air Micro. It's great to write over watercolors. It just works really well. And I'm just going to write a quote by Stephanie Lehart. I'm just going to go ahead and do it right here. So I have a note to self, love note to yourself, and it's just a nice little something I can put in. This one's going to a friend, but I could keep this in a purse or give it to someone that just sort of needs that lift. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope that you give yourself a little love today.